Hi, Stefanos. Welcome back on the podcast. What are the differences, according to you, between EU and US approach to sanctions?
Hello, Ansam. Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is a question I get a lot as a U.S. qualified lawyer who practiced in the U.S. for over a decade, and also now recently having become qualified in Ireland and living in the EU and working with lots of great EU lawyers. I've had the opportunity to to look at some of the differences. I think one of the first differences is that you see is in the process. In the U.S., there's effectively one decision maker or one governmental body working in conjunction with others. In the EU side, you have 27 decision makers effectively, or at least 27 decision makers with veto power over sanctions. So you have a much more collegial and collaborative process theoretically on the EU side, but that can also become a bit competitive as different member states try to position themselves and their own foreign policy goals and balance those with the EU. This is really part of the push and pull that has made the EU project so interesting and successful, but also with challenges at times as the EU seeks to balance the interests of itself as a body as well as its member states. The other difference I would say is its breadth and depth of sanctions. The US has been doing this a lot longer than the EU. The US, even since the time of the Second World War, and even arguably in the 18th and 19th centuries, in its prohibition of trading with Britain, had a lot of experience with sanctions. So there's a lot more significant sanctions programs on the US side, Iran, Venezuela. Whereas I think the most focus on the EU side goes to Russia. The U.S. has also had a good experiences in winding down sanctions programs. There was Sudan a few years ago, and one of the best stories in the sanctions world from this past year was the sort of stoppage of sanctions against Syria and the support for the new government and the people there. From a practitioner's perspective, what I would say the biggest difference is the focus on cargo on the EU side. On the US, I think philosophically it's much more about checking parties and persons involved. So those are some of the key differences between the EU and the US on sanctions.
All right, thank you very much.